Naming ionic compounds, we're going to start with just binary. So that's going to be 2. So we're going to have one metal and one nonmetal. We'll get to the more tricky ones later on. So when we write these, the cation always comes first. Always comes first, that cation. So the cation is going to be your metal, and the anion will be second. Remember that these are always going to consist of a metal and a nonmetal. That metal will always come first. So when we're writing them, we're going to do the name of the cation just as normal. So if it's sodium, we write sodium. If it's calcium, we write calcium. And then the name of the anion, the nonmetal, will be second, and it will end in IDE. So for example, oxygen will turn into oxide, or sulfur will turn into sulfide, or iodine will turn into iodide. So there's a lot of different combinations that you'll see, but they will all end in IDE. So let's look at some examples. So we've got a formula here, NaCl. The cation is always that first one, and that is sodium. My anion here is the Cl, so that's chlorine. And to name that, I do the cation first, just as it is, sodium. And then I do the anion name with IDE at the end. So it would be chloride is the ending for that. So sodium chloride, and that's just your table salt. Li2O is our next formula. Our cation is the first one, and that is going to be lithium. Our anion is that second one, and that's going to be our oxygen. So to name that, I do the cation just as normal, lithium. And my anion, I need to change the ending to end in IDE, so it'd be oxide. Lithium oxide would be the correct way to name that. And this last one, we have Ki. So our cation is K, so that's going to be potassium. Our anion is the I, that's iodine. So to name that, we do potassium. Cation always goes first, and it's always written normal. And then the anion is written second with ID at the end, so we get iodide as the ending. So potassium iodide is how you name that ionic compound.